Hello and welcome to Dead Letter Movie Chat, episode 23.
23.
Recorded August 2nd, 2015. I'm Tim,
I'm Andrew.
and we're talking this afternoon about the new Marvel superhero movie Ant-Man, starring Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, Evangeline Lilly, and several others.
Yes.
So, this is not
Well,
quite
it's
the typical superhero origin story.
yeah,
It sort of is.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it kind of isn't. The film focuses on going with the second Ant-Man instead of the first Ant-Man in the comics, which is I don't know. Tim can elaborate better on that maybe because I think he knows this stuff slightly better than I do.
Only a little.
Yeah,
But yeah, Michael Douglas's character had previously been Ant-Man in these movies, but he hadn't appeared before. And now he's older, so this is where the character of Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, comes into the story. So it feels like there's already some history and some backstory to it, and they did a little bit of establishment there. So I felt like this wasn't necessarily starting at the very beginning, so I didn't quite get the same, we're being dragged through another origin story, like I have in so many other movies. And it follows Scott Lang and his crew on this. This is essentially a heist movie.
yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah.
It really is, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of colorful, silly characters.
The team that he's in is very interesting because the film opens with him in jail and
Right.
then his buddy comes picks him up and Michael Pena, right?
Yes, Michael Pena.
Yeah, Michael Pena kind of steals the movie in a lot of ways with the way
he definitely steals the scenes he's in.
yeah, he's just very funny. And then there are other ex-con friends that he has, one of which is played by rapper T.I.
Which is pretty funny too.
Which is pretty funny. And they're kind of all involved with him and everything. They go to rob a house, and that's how Stephen Lang finds this biker suit that turns out to be the Ant-Man suit. And through there, the various things go on. The film is, this was going to be an Edgar Wright movie originally, the same guy who did Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, and you can definitely still feel his influence in the script.
Yeah, his fingerprints are definitely all over this, and in fact in several places in the credits, writing credits, executive producing, and so forth. So this isn't exactly the movie that Edgar Wright would have made.
No,
it's probably different in a lot of significant ways, but it is in a lot of other ways very much like that movie would have been.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm really glad that Edgar Wright was involved in this at all.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of his humor that came through in this as well as Paul Rudd's, and I really felt like all the humor, all the jokes and the silly hijinks really elevated this movie because it like Guardians of the Galaxy last year didn't take itself too seriously.
and I think that's just important when it comes to superhero movies in general. Because now there's being like kind of mugging about it that would be kind of weird and stupid, but it's still pretty hilarious. The fact that the film is called Ant-Man kind of was not really in its favor. The fact it's about a guy who gets really little wasn't exactly in its favor. So they did the smart thing by having comedy people write this movie.
Yeah.
And actually Peyton Reed is also a comedy director for that matter. He did Yes Man with Jim Carrey. So I mean, these are all comedy people working on a superhero movie, which is hilarious in a lot of ways.
It is. I laughed a lot at this. The
No, you're trying to look for like the flaws or something.
well, the one of the big ones is that the stakes don't really feel like they're there.
No, that's
It's
been a problem with a lot
not
of the
huge
Marvel
stakes.
movies. Yeah,
Yeah, they kind of talk like they are, but it never really pans out that way.
right.
Um,
It's hard to be emotionally involved when we've been through like over like what is this, like the 13th Marvel movie or
yeah,
something?
something like that.
Like we
And
all know how this is going to pan out in the end. I mean, like
yeah, some of the details are different, but the basics of the plot are very much the same. You
mhm,
know, normal guy gets powers, fights a villain,
mhm. And the
ultimately
villain
saves the day. Villain has some strong connection to the hero.
mhm. But it's like I don't know, like the villain and the fact that it's just like we've seen so many of these movies are kind of the things that hurt the movie the most. There's a couple of lines that Tim and I were like, maybe we should have just cut out those lines, and but they don't really hurt the movie in a logic sort of way. You're just sort of like,
Yeah,
why didn't they
not
just
too
do this?
much. Yeah,
So like,
there were a couple of little dangling threads here and there that it's okay. That's a concept that I guess was in some version of the script, some draft,
mhm,
but they didn't play out the rest of it in the final version. So
yeah.
maybe you should have trimmed that line because it didn't really add anything. It made me think maybe there was something more that was supposed to be there but wasn't.
Yeah, and like it's the thing about the fact that this was supposed to be an Edgar Wright movie and then wasn't. So the fact that this film works at all is, a surprising thing because usually when there's that kind of shift between a director and with a writer director leaving and other people coming in, like that has a tendency to kind of gum up the work. So the fact that this movie works at all is rather rather amazing. And the fact that there's only like these little nitpicky things that bother us is kind of a good thing. The villain, however, is just like all the other Marvel villains, and that they're just not. He's just not that compelling.
Yeah,
Um,
he's pretty thin on character development. I mean, okay, yeah, this guy's kind of crazy, but I mean, the heroes are kind of crazy too. It's kind of how this all works. Yeah,
and
I never really felt like some guy's just gonna punch him in the face and that'll be that.
yeah, he's just sort of lame.
Yeah,
Um, and that's just been a problem with the Marvel movies to begin with. There is no really downright evil going on.
not in this one at least.
No, and that's fine. I mean, this movie didn't necessarily need to do that, but the big fight is really good. It's really hilarious. The special effects are used in a manner that's hilarious, which I think is what really helps.
Yeah, there were a lot of really genuinely funny and surprising sight gags.
Hmm.
Based on playing with scale and how tiny Ant-Man can be and how big something that's really very small could seem when he's
So
all
little.
shrunk down. So yeah, there was a lot of that. Really well played there. I again the villain was a little thin, but I didn't think the film suffered too much from that because the villain himself wasn't really the focus of the movie.
No, it's this movie is just to give us an Ant-Man movie, and
Yeah,
to kind of like really the purpose of this movie is for him to be in a later movie, but
it kind of is. Yeah,
which is sort of the thing that sucks about this whole universe thing. But I don't know. It doesn't really hurt the movie. I still had a good time. I enjoyed it. Michael Douglas, we see a young Michael Douglas at one point in this movie, and he looks just like he did in 1989, and
that was
was
actually really impressive.
I
Yeah,
was really impressed with that. So like the effects are really good. It's absolutely hilarious. It has its big flaws, or just the big flaws of just about all the other movies lately. So I don't know. For me, it's a straight B plus movie. I don't think it's gonna win anything. I don't even know if it even win visual awards. But I mean, like it was.
yeah. I don't know about that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely creative with its visuals.
Hmm.
So I loved that about it. I agree. I don't know that it's really going to win any awards. It felt very much to me like a B movie that had a handful of A-list actors in it,
Yes.
and that helped to make it
And,
a good B movie.
mhm.
But
Well, having giant ants also feels like a
yeah,
B movie
it
from
it really does.
like that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So I agree. They elevated it some. Was good, not great. Very much a popcorn kind of movie.
Yeah.
But
Summer
yeah,
movie.
a good one as such things go. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a good time. I laughed. I cheered a little.
I'll probably watch it again.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I
yeah,
expect I will too. So B plus from me.
yeah, that-
So all
there you
right,
go.
that's Ant-Man, which is
Woo!
still a stupid name for a superhero.
Yeah, but what else would they do though?
I don't know,
Yeah,
but there it
the
is.
insect.